Nestled high in the Peruvian Andes, shrouded in mist and mystery, lies one of the world's greatest treasures, Machu Picchu. It's a bucket list destination, but there are a lot of ins and outs to know before you go. We spend 2 days here exploring 2 different circuits. We share everything you need to know, as well as what everything cost. I'm Judy.
And I'm Kevin. Welcome back to Finding Gina Marie, where we share our lives as full-time travelers and the connections we make along the way.
Maybe you've heard of other people talk about it as a bucket list destination, but what makes Machu Picchu so important, and where exactly in Peru is it? Nicknamed the Lost City of the Incas, Machu Picchu was built in the 1400s as a royal estate or religious retreat for the Incan Emperor Pachuti. It's a complex series of terraces, plazas, temples, and royal residences that escaped discovery when the Spanish colonized Peru in the 1600s. While indigenous people knew about it, it was largely unknown until 1911 when American explorer Hiram Bingham rediscovered it. Machu Picchu is famous for its epic hikes and the advanced engineering and architectural skill of the Incans who built it hundreds of years ago. You'll want to have some cash here for the restroom, tips at restaurants, or to pay for a guide. Machu Picchu used to have more general visit type tickets, but in June 2024 there were some changes, and now there's no tickets you can buy to see everything. Currently there are 3 circuits, and each one is different. There also are sub-circuits, but for now we'll show you our recommendations, assuming you aren't planning to hike mountains. We'll talk more about those in a bit. All circuits start from the Machu Picchu entrance when you first arrive, and they aren't really interconnected. If you only want to do one circuit, then it should be Circuit 2A, Route Classic Designed, which is the most comprehensive. But there are still a few things you'll miss. You'll get a great view of the Machu Picchu complex, what we call the iconic view or the money shot. You'll also get to go down and walk through some of the urban complex. You won't be able to walk through the important royal sites. Those are Circuit 3. Circuit 3 is called Machu Picchu Royalty, and you'll want to choose the Circuit 3B Route Designed Royalty option. This is the one that allows you to walk through the Temple of the Sun, House of the Inca, and Temple of the Condor, and the other iconic royalty sites. This is a winding route that takes a little time to go through, similar to Circuit 2A. What Circuit 3B lacks is the iconic view. You will not get that view from any place in Circuit 3. This route is also good if you have mobility issues and can't climb stairs, because this is a lower terrace route and doesn't have stairs. Circuit 1B is the panoramic route. This route is very short. You climb higher than Circuit 2A by a couple of staircases, and you then have the iconic view, but you don't get to explore any other parts of the site. It's basically an uphill viewing point, and then you just climb right back down. There is so much information about Machu Picchu that we couldn't cover in this video. We have a detailed article that explains it all. Check it out on our website. Everyone had a different opinion about whether to acclimate in Cusco or do it down in Sacred Valley. We ended up spending a few days in Cusco, then 3 nights in Sacred Valley, 2 nights in Aguas Calientes, which is the base camp to Machu Picchu, and then we stayed a week in Cusco. In order to get to Machu Picchu, your only option is to first arrive in Cusco, which is the nearest major urban center, but it's a very high altitude, 3,400 meters, or 11,150 feet above sea level, and you have to worry about altitude sickness. Sacred Valley is lower at 2,500 meters above sea level, so it's a better place to get adjusted to than Cusco. It's on the way to Machu Picchu. Aguas Calientes, which is also known as Machu Picchu Town, is around 2,040 meters, or 6,690 feet in elevation. It's the base camp for Machu Picchu. Although you have to arrive in Cusco, there's no need to be in Cusco first. It's a cool city unlike any place we've ever been, and you definitely want to see it. But we'd recommend to go down to Sacred Valley immediately after arriving and acclimate there. It's not what we did, but it's what we suggest you do now that we know better. It's a lower altitude than Cusco, so it's easier on your body, and there's so much to see and do to help you prepare for Machu Picchu. While you could go to Aguas Calientes and acclimate there, it's really just a gateway to Machu Picchu. There's not that much to see or do, it's extremely touristy, and it's more expensive than Ollantaytambo in Sacred Valley. But Aguas Calientes does have a fun energy, so we didn't mind spending 2 nights there. After you've spent time in Sacred Valley and Machu Picchu, we then recommend you give yourself 3 or 4 days or more to experience Cusco. Next week, we'll be bringing you on our tour of Sacred Valley, and the following week, we'll be sharing our time in Cusco.
So we're here in Aguas Calientes, and we don't have the best news today. We're supposed to be heading to Machu Picchu, but
I'm not feeling well, so fever and other problems, so I'm gonna have to back out and leave poor Judy to her own fight. So, it kind of sucks.
yeah. So fortunately, we have tickets for today and tomorrow. Today is the classic circuit, but there's no restrooms until I think you get to the end. So this wasn't really the best option for Kevin to join for. I think it's going to be a longer day. My fingers are crossed that I'll be able to do it justice.
You'll do fine. You're great.
And here it is, 6:18, and they're still allowing people on the bus for the 6 a.m. departure. The people who have a 7 a.m. start time have a later bus behind me. I'm not going to lie, I am a little bit intimidated about doing all of this on my own. So if you're a solo traveler, then I feel some unity with you today. I'm on the right side of the bus, and I think that the views are slightly better from this angle. The bus twists and turns, so the left side will get some good angles as well. So we'll see what's going on right now. I think I need to look for a guide. Now, my understanding is that once you're on the hike, you don't have any ability to detour to a restroom. So you're going to want to go to the bottom level and take care of that first. And it's 2 sol to use the restroom. They have change. So, and they were clean and nice. There's also some snacks in the snack machine to help fuel you. Technically, you're not allowed to bring food on the trail, but I think that anything you bring in, you have to take out. So this is your 12,000 time.
At least, yes.
And this is Mario, everyone.
Hello, guys. So here it is around 8,000 feet. It's really very lower Cusco. This flower is one of the most exotic orchids. So in Machu Picchu there are more than 400 different varieties of orchids, and this is one of the most exotic ones. It's blooming only this month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And personally, I like that there's a combination of regular stairs as well as stone stairs. And it's dry today, but it doesn't seem like it would be too slippery. So we're sort of seeing some of the fog head into this beautiful shot and kind of take some of the beauty away from it. Now remember, the way the route goes is you can't go backwards. So you may want to stay here and wait for it to clear up, because once you pass it, you can't go back and try to capture it again. We didn't really move, but you can see that there's nothing to see. The fog has rolled in and obscured any good view that we had. In fact, I'm not a pro at this camera, and I was sort of thinking that maybe I was filming incorrectly, but no, the reality is that the fog is just dense and covering things. So you just need to know that you have to stick around and wait for the fog to shift. Starting to clear up a little bit, but it's still not as clear as it was for us when we first arrived. But this is a good sign that things are rolling out, and maybe beauty will be rolling in again soon. Mario said that between May and September, it will always be beautiful. You would ideally want to come early in the morning to watch the sunrise. And of course, having to wait for the fog to lift means that it's a bit more crowded here than it was when we first arrived and there was nobody. But look, it's starting to really clear up. That's so encouraging. So I'm just going to say that this is absolutely stunning, and I'm overwhelmed that the clouds decided to shift and the fog lifted to be able to get some additional pictures. It is so worthwhile and breathtaking. I wasn't expecting to see these furry friends, just kind of in a little pathway. They seem friendly enough. Oh my, and they're coming up the stairs. Look who decided to join me. Mario was saying that although you have these obstructed views at times, we have nice, reasonably cool weather today. If you are coming in June, July, and August, it will be very hot, upwards of 80 degrees. People have been known to faint, and there tends to be a lot more mosquitoes at that time of year as well. So there are trade-offs regardless of when you're coming. The mountain is showing itself. If you are persistent and wait, you can be pleasantly surprised. So this big rock is supposed to mimic the mountain here at Machu Picchu, which means Old Mountain. I do recommend that you pick up a guide when you're here, because there was someone who nearly at the end of the hike had asked, where is the Sun Gate? And it was probably an hour or more past where we were. And one of the things about Machu Picchu is they don't allow you to backtrack. So if you don't see it the first time, you're pretty much out of luck. So back to the beginning, and you can see that there's buses here. Looks like you can buy a round trip if you didn't already. There's a place to eat, which wasn't really open this morning when I arrived, so that's interesting.
The line gets long at the 9 o'clock entry, so get your bus tickets early. Make sure you give yourself at least an hour ahead of time before you actually have to get into the park. You have an hour grace, but we're getting in at 9 o'clock. We got here just a little after 8, and we got quite a wait for a bus. So just make sure you give yourself enough time.
Just a reminder that you have to go to the bus ticket station to actually get bus tickets. And there's a building you walk into. It's about 3 blocks from where the buses line up. And you can pay in cash or by credit card. But you can see we're early for our 9 o'clock, but the line is already really, really long. Fortunately, you have, for a 9 o'clock ticket, you're allowed to enter as late as 10 a.m., but after an hour, your tickets are no longer valid. You'll also notice that there are guides outside of the line trying to get you to sign up to work with them in advance. Otherwise, you can also pick them up at Machu Picchu directly.
So after a few minutes, we finally walked up to the spot where we got the tickets. The line was well past it. It's a little after 8:30. There's a lot of buses that line up, so it's not like there's only one, but still, there's a lot of people to get on. So we're the 9 o'clock entry. We just got to go in the line that was already queued way up, way back. And there's a 10 o'clock entry. That's another sign over on the side. And that's, if you're here early, you just line up in front of that and you'll get your time on the bus after this line is done. We've seen a lot of friendly dogs here at Machu Picchu. They just come up, lay down by you, hang out, just want a pet. We're hoping the weather holds out. It's really nice here right now. If we can avoid the fog and the rain, we'll be thrilled for today's adventure. Second day of Machu Picchu for Judy. First one for me. I was out of commission yesterday. So it's 8:35. We're getting close to the buses. Now they will check your bus tickets while you're in line, and they will also check your ticket for entry into Machu Picchu, and they'll want your passport. So you have to have all those things accessible while you're waiting in line for the bus. We're starting to board a bus. It took us about a half an hour to get through the line after buying our tickets. Not bad.
So one of the reasons that your passport is going to be checked so much is because Machu Picchu tickets cannot be transferred or sold to anyone else. Your passport needs to match your tickets. So they're really keeping things pretty tight in terms of who can visit. So make sure that the time and the circuit that you choose are the ones you want, because you cannot change them.
And they will not let you on a bus if you don't have Machu Picchu tickets. It's not an option. So you have to have those first. So just to reiterate, when Judy took this trip yesterday, what was your entry time?
6 o'clock. And I literally walked in at 6:56. So now my guide did make a point of telling me that at 7 o'clock, so an hour after your start time, they won't let you in. So you do need to be timely, but at the same time, you know, you're at the mercy of the buses, you're at the mercy of the lines for bus tickets.
And
So-
yesterday, the bus line was very short because of the 6 a.m. And we got to the bus a little bit late, so we got lucky. Today, we kind of knew it was going to be a longer line. I didn't know it was going to be as long as it was, but again, we gave ourselves enough time, so we're on the road. It could be a little bit earlier, but Judy said it was about a 20-minute bus ride, so we should just be there a few minutes after our entry time. Nothing to complain about.
No. And I do want to make a point of saying that people are really like packing a ton of snacks and water. Technically, you're not allowed to be eating on the trail. You could do it discreetly, but I also think that it's not a super strenuous hike. So unless you're climbing the actual mountains, you're going to be fine for the short amount of time that you're actually walking through. I was surprised. I thought that Circuit 2 would be more harrowing and stressful than it was, and there was a tiny bit of hiking, and then it was mostly flat, so I almost didn't even need much water.
How was your queue yesterday for this?
No line.
No line.
Literally walked up and went. Now, there were people who had the 7 o'clock ticket, and they were waiting, and they weren't letting any of those people in. So I just went to the front of the line, but it didn't even matter because there was really 5 people waiting for 7.
Okay. You cut ahead 5 people. Cool. But you were within minutes of getting blocked.
Yeah. And the reason for that was not because we weren't prepared to leave earlier, but because Kevin was waiting till the very last minute to see if he would be able to join me. It didn't work out.
Didn't work out. I was not able at all. I barely made it back to the room before I crashed again.
Which is why I'm really glad that we had 2 days worth of tickets so that we could at least see something that Kevin missed.
Which is also a reason if the weather's bad one day, you have 2 days, maybe one of them will just be that sweet moment of sun.
Right. The downside is that you have to pick your circuits in advance. And so if you are really wanting to do that circuit 2, and you know, you're probably not going to do the same circuit twice.
They're going to tell you to put away your selfie sticks when you're in line for the entry, so just don't have them out. Stick them in your bag, deal with them later.
This is a much more beautiful day than I had. It's warm and there's more clear blue skies. So glad we got to see it, however we get to see it.
What circuit are we on today?
1.
Okay.
So it's interesting, they didn't even care to look if we were going up Circuit 1, but they definitely are stopping you for Circuit 2.
Interesting.
This
Popular
is the one
circuit?
that sells out.
Okay. That's why they're worried about it.
Really beautiful, and we are not at the top yet. This is just, I would say, the first landing.
Yeah, we're not even all the way up the stairs. This is really cool already. And I love that we have some clear skies. These mountains are gorgeous.
So Circuit 1 Panoramic is definitely a lot less crowded. You can see that there's been nobody on our path so far. You're going up a bit more to get a panoramic view than if you were just doing Circuit 2, but my fingers are crossed that when you get to the top, it's going to be worth it. We'll see.
I'm in recovery mode, so walking up these hills feels really strenuous for me. And Judy said the other path was nice and flat getting up to it, so I feel like I was lied to a little bit, but I get it. Everything's different. So I guess this one might come back around to here.
Yes.
Because here's the exit, so that's why we're seeing people coming down. But you said the other one was one way.
This is correct, but once you get to the platform to view, there's no place else to go. So you have to come down this way.
Okay. All right. Cool. Upwards and onwards.
So we're on Circuit 1, and this is the terrace view. We're going to get a little bit closer so that we can see the sweet spot of what Machu Picchu is, but we pretty much have Circuit 1 to ourselves.
And it's gorgeous. The amount of clouds right now, if they just stay at that height, they don't come floating down, we'll be in great shape. So fingers crossed.
A little more. We're
more.
almost done, actually. So this is the prime spot of Circuit 1, where you can see the mountain and the village and all the beauty that is Machu Picchu.
Pretty beautiful.
What do you have to say for this incredible place?
I'm so glad we came. So glad for recovering so I could be here in person. Jude took some great footage yesterday, but there's nothing like seeing it in person. So,
And on a sunny day, that was a huge gift.
yeah, great gift. Beautiful weather. Rainy season hasn't been so bad for us so far.
No, not at all.
And we've seen a lot of green. I don't know how green this would be in the summertime.
Not green.
Dry season.
Not green.
Yeah.
And if you do come in the dry season, ideally you'll want to be here in the earliest spots between 6 and 8 so you can see the sun rising through the sun gate, and that would be spectacular.
Yeah, you're pretty. You're sweet. Hola.
Thank you.
This is a lot easier going down than it was up.
So we've got Nathan here, and he went all the way up to the top of Montana Mountain. And obviously that's not what we did, but if you are a little braver than us and maybe a little bit fitter, we've got him here to share a little bit about what his experience was like.
He took an hour to get up there?
A little under an hour, yeah,
Okay.
about that. It's rock stairs the whole way up,
Oh.
so it's a bit of a grind. It's not easy. Definitely take your time, but the view is amazing. And if it's cloudy when you get there, just hang around for a little bit. It cleared up for me after about an hour.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
24.
24. And did you do anything to prepare for this hike?
No.
But you're fit, obviously,
Yeah.
and you exercise regularly?
Yeah, I live in Canada in the mountains, so I'd hike there.
Okay.
So I guess a little bit of preparation that way, but
Okay.
it's half as high as here, so the altitude is no joke in Peru. I've been riding around on a motorbike for a week, so
Okay.
I'm pretty used to it now.
Sure.
But the first few days for sure were hard.
Yeah.
On the ride here, as I drove to Machu Picchu, you get up to 44, and it was
Do you really?
yeah, it was a pretty amazing drive. I highly
Wow.
recommend doing that.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I drove from Uliantombo to Hydroelectrica and walked in, and it's
Oh, wow.
amazing. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Excellent.
Now, in terms of this hike again, when you went up, was it crowded at all? What time was your start time?
I was here at 6. The hike opens at 7. I was the only one up there until 10.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was pretty nice.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you sharing
Thank you
that.
so
Great.
much, and
Great.
congratulations. That's
Yeah.
a big accomplishment.
Good job.
Thank you.
Cheers. So this is, again, I could take the bus. You can hike down a little over an hour. So much for me. So this is the queue for the bus going down. Buses aren't as many here, but they're not trying to hit a time schedule for people getting into the park. But you can see there's a few queued up as they drop people off.
It's 5 to 11.
Yeah, so we spent a good amount of time just hanging out up there, enjoying it. And it's much sunnier now than when we arrived, so it's a little hot in this line.
If you're coming in the summer, you definitely want to dress with cool layers because you're going to be hot.
Gracias.
Gracias.
So you get dropped off on this side of the track, which is opposite where you got on the buses, and you'll like to enjoy the river here too. It is gorgeous. It's kind of white noise at night. Well, where are we, Judy?
We're on PeruRail. We're doing the Vista Dome. We took just the Expedition basic train on the way here, and that was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
but we thought we would take one for the team and see if the Vista Dome is going to be worthwhile, because it was a bit more expensive.
Yeah, now the seats are a little bit bigger, and we do get a time in the observatory, which is a car that has no windows, so you don't get any glare or anything else, and they'll call us there in 2 groups, which is very nice.
It's not that it has no windows.
Okay, well I saw an open walkway. in
Like
the pictures.
really? Like you could just walk and fall out?
Well, there's a railing. It's not, you're not just climbing on top of the train.
We'll see.
This is not a Tom Cruise movie.
Neither of us are in shape for Tom.
Not doing it. So Judy got her snack pack already. Cookies.
Quinoa cookies and quinoa bar and coca candy.
Oh, nice.
And I have a coca tea also, which we were told really you're better off to chew coca leaves than to have it in tea, but I wanted to try it.
Here's the snack cart that's coming down.
There's also a milky
You're hiding stuff.
and a second coca candy.
There you go.
And that's it. So this is your snack box that you get for an extra $20. but Cecil, his name is Cecil, also helped carry our bags onto the train and put them in the storage area. So that was nice. And reiterate the fact that you can take bigger bags. I mean, I wouldn't be bringing non-carry-on sized bags, but there is a small portion of the train set up for that. The reality of things is that we just ate, so these snack boxes are probably going to go into our backpacks and we'll eat them during our week in Cusco. That's
Or
okay.
we have a bimodal service, which means we're starting off on the train and then we take a bus for the rest of the way to Cusco.
Yeah, which
So-
is another 2 hours, I believe.
Yeah.
And that's because during the rainy season, it's not safe for the train to operate from Sacred Valley, Ollantaytambo, all the way back to Cusco.
It's like January through April. Forget it, you're not getting full service. But this train does go slowly. So,
Yeah, so they said an hour and a half or 27 miles.
Yeah. So it's really slow all the way through. So if you want to get a faster service, bimodal is actually quicker because they drive faster on the buses
That's true.
than they do with
Yes.
the train.
Yeah.
This train goes really slow, stops every time another train has to pass it. So you have a lot of these things interrupting the flow of it. Helps for pictures, but it's not great if you're trying to get someplace really quick. So I think maybe we lucked out with bimodal. Sounds like it's not a bad deal.
We're on it's the same version of the route that we took that was the expedition, which, like, the view was good, but it wasn't outstanding. But we'll see. Maybe with having more panoramic views, we'll feel differently.
There's only one way in and out. It's not like there's multiple rail lines here. Inca Rail and PeruRail both share the same lines. So you're always just pulling over when another train has to pass. There's the passing train. About 5 minutes into our stop. You see they're not long trains because they have to fit on these little bypass tracks. So it's our turn. They called us over the speakers and then they came to our car and made sure we knew it was our turn. So we're going to the observatory car. Good job. Good catch, Jude. The train does sway. Be careful.
Machu Picchu in the rainy season, you can't take the train the whole way back to Cusco. So like us, we're using Bimodal Service. So it's a train to Ollantaytambo, and then it's a bus to Cusco. And literally we walked 15 steps, I don't know.
We got off the train, they had a sign for bimodal. You just walk over and stand in this little queue, which is not that big right now.
Ooh.
So they took our luggage before we boarded the bus, and they're putting it under so we didn't have to deal with it on the bus.
Right, very
We've
nice.
got small compartments up above, but they're not going to carry our backpacks. They're for very small items. And the seats are comfortable.
Yeah, and I mean, we can fit our legs without a problem with our backpack, so it's no issue at all.
So this is a better experience than I expected. I didn't know it was going to be this big a bus. I'm thrilled it is. Cusco, here we come.
Yeah, we'll be there for a week, which will be nice. We've got a couple of videos to get out while we're there.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to fast track our Machu Picchu so that we can bring it to you sooner.
So what did we pay for our bucket list time in Machu Picchu? Peru has a tipping culture, but they don't typically allow you to add a tip on a credit card. We ended up paying $15.95 in bank fees. Dining and bottled water cost us $106.78 or $53.39 per day, which breaks down to $26.70 per person per day. We spent 2 nights at Gringo Bill's Boutique Hotel, which was $63.45 per night. Tickets for 2 days in Machu Picchu were $169.42 or $84.71 per person. The green shuttle buses taking you from Aguas Calientes directly to Machu Picchu were $12 per person each way for a total of $48.06. As you recall, Kevin didn't join me for one of the days. I slightly overpaid for my tour guide at Machu Picchu, but that was mostly because I didn't have smaller bills. He did a great job though, and because of the circuits we chose, we really didn't need one for the second day. That cost us a total of $94.58. We took the basic expedition train on PeruRail from Sacred Valley to Aguas Calientes, and that was $60 per person. But we splurged on the Vista Dome Observatory train on PeruRail on the return. That was a hefty $130 per person and included a drink and a snack and a lot of entertainment. Our total cost for 2 full days at Machu Picchu cost us $965.69. Which breaks down to be $241.42 per person per day.
Thank you so much for coming along with us to Machu Picchu. There's more Sacred Valley and then Cusco before we leave Peru. So if you're not already subscribed, you're going to want to do that.
Go to findinggina.com. We find downloads, articles, our free community forum, and you can check out our behind-the-scenes members benefits.
Until next time.
Until next time.